Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel today. I'm your host Sanj, and in this video I've got something really exciting for you. I'm going to show you how you can use N8N, which is locally hosted on your machine, so you don't have to pay for the cloud service, to basically generate motivational like YouTube style shorts, okay? These are going to basically grab the video, grab the sound, create the caption on the video, create the description for your YouTube, and completely automate the entire process, okay? This has been one of my most proudest builds. It's taken me a long time to kind of formulate this concept and build it out into N8N, because I've had this concept in my mind for a while. I've always wanted to do a locally hosted kind of workflow, certainly using like a motivational style, like a faceless video, okay? So this is a truly exciting build, and I want you to focus on this. There's a lot of moving parts, okay? So go back, pause, watch it again, and let's just dive right in and get down to business. So before I start the build, I just want to say to you that this is a locally hosted N8N build, okay? So if you look at the address bar here, this is set to localhost, okay? And that's because what I'm about to show you, it can be built using the cloud interface, okay? So just wanted to get that out of the way, and I'll show you how to set all that up. It's pretty straightforward. But essentially there's basically two parts to the automation, right? The first part, which is in the yellow sticky here, it's gonna download the royalty-free videos, and I'll show you how to find that. And then the second automation is going to do the same thing. It's an identical flow. It's just that one is set for video, one is set for music. Okay, we're going to get the music together. And then the second part of the automation, which is the green sticky note here, this is what's going to put everything together, right? So it's going to generate the motivational video, it's going to add the caption, and it's going to upload it into YouTube with a title, with a video as a video short, okay? So I'll show you exactly how to build all of that. The other thing that this automation requires is a source of data, okay? So basically, this is just a quick database that I built inside of Google Sheets. And essentially what it is basically, I've tested it, and this is the first video that was uploaded, but I'll remove all this when I'm running it live with you. We've got video titles and video transcripts, okay? And what I did was I just plugged into ChatGPT and I asked it for 100 motivational like ideas, okay? So I told it what I wanted, which is I'm gonna create videos for YouTube, and I want a title, you know, that's very direct, very kind of straight to the point. I don't want it to be too long. And then I want a transcript for it, okay, for the video, okay? And that's what I did, literally that's what I did. And then it basically spit out like 100 of these, and I just literally copied and pasted it in here, okay? So you could do exactly the same thing. So this sheet has three different parts. This is the caption and the posting status. So this is where you'll see the video that's been posted. It'll tell you the success or the output path, and also the video URL, okay? The video source is from here. So basically these are videos that I found on YouTube that don't have any royalties attached to them, okay? So they're royalty free, you can use them, you can monetize them, you can do whatever you want with them, okay? So I found three, I show you how to do that, and the same is true for videos. So there is a way you can use YouTube to find audios, okay, without royalty free, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So for the first part, you need some royalty free music and video, okay? So the way I did it is to go to YouTube and just type in, as you can see here, royalty-free video, no music, no copyright, no sound, okay? I just want the video. I don't want anything else, no text, nothing like that on there, okay? And there are some videos in here. You're gonna have to find some. This one could work. So have a look at something like this. Just wait for this to stupid ads on YouTube, but basically something like this would work. Okay, so we could use something like this. The only thing you want to check is just to make sure that it's royalty free. And what that means is that you can use it in any context. It means that you can monetize your videos, you can monetize your shorts, and there's no issues with that, right? If you're gonna monetize this going to production, then you definitely want to check that, okay? There are other websites to do this, but using YouTube is definitely the easiest place to do this, okay? So find a few of these kind of videos, grab the URL, which is the link here, and then just go into the video source and then just paste it here. So I found three, okay, for the sake of this video. And then to find the music is much easier. So if you go into the YouTube Studio, right, so this is just a test channel that I've got that I use for things like this. Head over to Audio Library, right, you can actually find lots of videos in here. So you can sort by all sorts of different filters. Okay, so the one that I looked for was genre, right, and we could do something like ambient. We can do like laid back, relax, chill. I mean, country folk, whatever, right? So ambient is good for this because this is that kind of niche, that kind of industry. And then just find some of these videos, right? So you can still narrow down again. So you can do mood. Let's narrow down by inspirational. Right, and then we could do something like, you can even filter by artist, okay? And then when you find something that you like, let's say something like this, just play that. Right, if you're happy with the music, what you want to do is, you don't want to download it, you just want to get the URL from YouTube for this, okay? So the way I did it was, I just go over to the artist's channel, right? And then just search for the video name. So if it is, let's say Kurodora for this example, just grab that, go over here, go to the magnifying glass and just paste it in there and just find it, see if it got it in there, right? And then when you do find it, this one doesn't have it, but when you do find it, you just grab the URL from the address bar and then head over to the sheet. You want to go to the music source and then you want to paste the music path in there, okay? So you want, I mean, for this, I've just done 3 because I've got 3 examples that I'm gonna show you for this live build and obviously a demonstration once it's uploaded. If you want to run N8N locally on your machine, you're gonna need some kind of container environment, okay? And the service that I used, which is completely free, is called docker.com, okay? It's a very popular deployment platform for SaaS tools and other applications, and it already supports N8N, okay? So head over to docker.com, download the Docker desktop here. So I'm on Apple Mac, which is why I installed the Apple Silicon, but just grab whichever downloader is relevant for your operating system. Okay, and then once it's installed, it will look something like this, okay? So I've already gone ahead and done that, but I'm gonna show you exactly what you're gonna do. So the first thing you wanna do is load up the Docker desktop, head over to Docker Hub, type in N8N, click search, and then you want to grab the first search result, okay, which is N8N IO-N8N. Click on that, and then click on pull, which will then install. You'll see the progress bar. It'll then install an image on your Docker, okay. Once it's done, head over to images, and then you'll see this here, okay. So click on this, and then you want to run this. Okay, so click on run, and then for the container settings, go down to optional settings, and then for the host port, just put in 5678. That's fine. That's like the default host, okay? And this is very important because this is the address that you're going to use when you connect to N8N locally on your machine. And then you just click on run. I'm going to go do that because I've already done it. Once the image is created, you go into the containers, and then you'll see a container, okay? And this is running, and that's the first part of the hosting done. If the Docker and container installations have been successful, well, if you've done it correctly, you'll see a local host, okay? So if you click on this link, it will take you to this setup here, okay? So this is my local host. This is running locally on my machine through Docker, okay? And this is when you know you've done it correctly, okay? But before we can get started and, utilize the container to start building this workflow inside of N8N, there's a couple of things that we need to do, okay? So I've got a documentation here, like a Google Doc, and basically we need 2 things to install into Docker, okay? The first one is FFmpeg, and the second thing is we need a library called yt-dlp, okay? And what this will let us do is this will let us basically download YouTube videos. So we need both of these, okay? So the way to do this is you need to basically do this on terminal if you're on a Mac. So I'm on a Mac. So what you want to do is you want to bring up the terminal, which is this one here. In fact, let me just close that down and bring up a new one. I'll quit that so we get a fresh screen. So if you do command space, click on terminal, it'll bring this up. And then you can see I've basically ran loads of this before, right? And so what you want to do is you want to basically take this command here, right? But where it says the curly brackets here, you want to replace that with the container ID. So the container ID is, if you go inside of Docker, this is your container, this one is your container ID here. This is localhost, but this one here is your container ID. If you copy this, right, and then paste it here, right, and then grab this, copy this, and then run it inside of terminal, right? Just paste that here and then just run that, okay? That's the first part. And so this is what you'll get. It will look something like this, okay? This is what you're basically gonna come out with, okay? And once that's done, you wanna move on to the next step, which is you want to install the yt-dlp library inside of Docker, okay? So again, it's a similar kind of process. You're gonna need the container ID. And for this, basically, the container ID is this part here, right? So make sure you copy the correct container ID, and then you just basically take this, right? Which is the example. So you replace this part here with your container ID, okay? You grab this and then you go back into terminal and then you paste it and then you run it, right? And then you'll know it's successful because you'll see basically output like this. It's downloading and installing, libraries and dependencies and all that kind of stuff inside of Docker. Before I can start the build, there's 3 APIs that we need connected, okay? Because this is a little bit different to doing it on N8N's cloud, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is head over to home here, where it says create workflow. You wanna click on the arrow here and then create a credential, okay? Now you can see that I've already got the YouTube account and I've got Google Sheets, okay? There's one more that you need, which is Google Drive, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. So click on create credential. You want to find the first one, which is YouTube. So find YouTube OAuth 2 API, right? Click on continue. And then basically it will then create an OAuth connection for you, okay? So what you need for this is you're gonna need the client ID and the client secret, okay? So to get that, you head over to your Google Cloud account, okay? If you haven't got a Google Cloud account, you can just sign up with a Gmail or G Suite account, and then you wanna create a project, right? So I'm inside of YouTube Scraper, which is just the project I created for another video of mine, but if you don't have one, just click on here and click on new project, okay? Then inside of here, go to API and services. Once you have that, go to credentials, and then you want to create credentials, okay? But you're gonna create the OAuth client ID. And then just wait for that to load. And then for application type, you can select web. You can call it whatever you want, give it a name. And then the most important thing here is you need the authorized redirects URIs, okay? So I'm just gonna paste something in here for now, which is this OAuth redirect URL, okay? So it's a callback URL, okay? That just means that the API can basically integrate and connect with N8N locally on the machine, okay? So click this to copy, head back over here, save it, and then just click on create. And then this is the client ID and the client secret, okay? So you grab the client ID, right? And then you paste that there, and then you grab the client secret, and then you paste that there. And then once you're done, you just sign in with the same Gmail account, okay? You'll see, I've already done this, so I don't want to do it again, but you'll see confirmation. You'll basically be given a prompt to say, what kind of access do you want to allow? Just check it all because it's, you're going to need all the scopes to do this. And then once the handshake is done, you'll see a congratulations success screen, and you'll see that inside of here, which will look something like this. It will look something like this: account created, account connected. If at any point you get disconnected, you can just sign back in. And you want to do the same thing for the Google Sheets. Okay, so click on create credential, right? So find Google Sheets OAuth 2 API, continue, and you're going to do the same thing again. Okay, so go back into the Google Cloud, right? So we're done with this one, and I'm just going to delete this one because I already got it, so I don't want to duplicate, right? But we're going to create another credential for your Google Sheets. Okay, so create credentials OAuth client ID. Again, just create web application. The name can be whatever you want to call it. And then the most important thing here is the redirect URIs, okay? You just copy the one from the window, which is not that, that's my secret. Let's go back here, let's copy this, grab this and paste it here. Okay, and then once you're done, create, and then you've got basically the client ID, you copy that, and you paste that in the client ID field, and in the client secret, you get that, and then you paste that here. Okay, and then you save that. And again, it's going to ask you to connect with the same Gmail G Suite account. I suggest keeping it all in the same account, right? Don't use different accounts for different APIs because you're just going to get confused, right? And then once it's successful, you will see something like this. Okay, so it's account created, and then you've got everything in here. It's ready to use. So I'm just gonna OK this and then delete this, right? Because I don't need it, I've already got these. So let me delete this. There is one last thing you need to do, okay? So head over to the search bar at the top and type in YouTube. Okay, wait for it to come back. And then where it says YouTube Data API version 3, click on that. And you need to enable this, okay? So I've already got it enabled, but you'll see a blue button here that says enable, okay? Once it's enabled, you'll see API enabled, right? So that's the first one. The second one you need is Google Sheets. Right, so just wait for that to load. Google Sheets API, you see that one there? Click on it. Again, you're gonna see a blue button that says enable, click on enable. Once it's successful, you'll see it here that says API enabled. And then the last one you need is Google Drive. Okay, so just go search for Google Drive. Just wait for that to return the results. So here you have Google Drive API, click on that. And then same again, click on enabled. Once it's successful, you'll see a green tick with API enabled, and that's it. Everything's set up, Docker set up, the API integration set up. We can now get on and get building the automation. So we're gonna build everything that you can see inside of this yellow sticky, which is download royalty-free video and music, okay? Now these flows are identical. The first part is for video, the second part is for music. We can actually duplicate this and just change a few things around. So it's not going to take as long as you think it would, okay? So let's head over to a new workflow. The first node we're going to add is a schedule trigger. And I'll let you set this up however you want to do this. If you want 3 videos a day, 5 videos a day, 10 video days, whatever, right? You can set it up. Okay, so the next one you want is a Google Sheet, because we're going to access a sheet and you want to get rows in the sheet, okay? So you should have connected the credential by now. And you want to get the sheet. Okay, so the sheet I'm using is the one I showed you at the start, which is generate motivational AI videos. Okay, and for this, I'm gonna take the video source. Okay, because if you look at the sheet, there's 3 tabs here. Okay, there's 3 sheets inside the document, and if I go inside of here, you can see that the first part is going to be the video source. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to add a filter, and for the column we want to use status with a value of review. So it's going to get the row that has a status of review. And what that means is basically I'll change this to review because I ran it earlier, but I can go back to review. It'll pick this up, right? And if it once it's done successfully, right, it will then update, the workflow will actually update it to success, right? And the point of that is when you have multiple cycles of the workflow, right? Because if everything is set on, if everything remains review, it's just going to keep looping, right? It's constantly just going to keep going round and round in circles, right? So we need some way of identifying which of these videos have been done, right? Which have been completed, which have been downloaded, captions added and uploaded onto YouTube. And at the end of the cycle, right, for each of the workflows, I will then change the status, right? So on the next cycle, it won't pick it up. It will just move on to the next row, right? So that should make sense to you guys, okay? You might want to add a third status here as well to say, like, because for example, you might just want to upload one at a time or do one video at a time, right? So you might want to have another one in here, right? That is another step, another status, right? But I'll leave that to you. Review and success is more than enough, okay? And what did I call this one? I called it get video. There's nothing else for us to do here, so I'm just going to rename this, okay? And call it get video. So make sure you run this. So I'm going to go back to the original and I'm going to run this test step just to make sure that we have all the outputs. And you can see that here, it's pulled it off from the shell trigger. And then for this, we've got 3 items, right? Because three of these statuses are set to review. If I was to change it to say success, and then run it again, you'll see that it'll be 1 item, right? So let's just leave out 1 because then I can generate the video faster, okay? The next module node that you want is the limit node, okay? And for this, I'm gonna limit it to max 3 items because I've only got 3 items on my sheet. If I had more, I probably still would limit it at 3 because this is basically like a buffer, right? Remember, we are using a public API from YouTube. If we abuse it, if we kind of hammer the API and create thousands of videos or hundreds of videos or multiple videos that they deem to be outside of the acceptable use policy, then they're just going to ban your IP address, right? And we don't want that, so let's just leave it at 3. And for this, we've got 1 item because we've only got 1 that's a status of review. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the build here. Let's just find the limit node. Right, we're going to leave this to 3. And what did I call this? Rate video. Okay. The reason I called it rate video is because I'm going to use this multiple times, this node, throughout the workflow, right? So you can't have duplicate names, right? So I've just named it a little bit differently. But whenever you see a limit node or anything that says rate in there, it just means that I'm adding like a buffer just to make sure that I don't get banned, right? Or if you go into production with this system, you don't get banned either, okay? Then the next node is going to be an edit fields node, which is this create file name here. If I click inside of this, I'll show you what this one does. So basically, this has a file name, a variable, and it's a string. Okay, so we're just going to generate a random string here, as you can see. And this is because each video that we create has to have a unique file name, right? And this string here, this JSON string, will just randomly generate a file name for us, right? We don't have to worry about it. The next field is called folder name, and again, that's a string, and this time we're just going to call it video. Okay, so the video folders are called video, and the music folders are called music. Okay, so that's very straightforward. I'm just going to run this to test step to show you. And so it's got a random output for the file name, which is a length of 10 characters. Okay, so it's numbers and letters. I mean, you could put like other things in here, but just bear in mind that not all platforms accept like special characters, emojis, that kind of stuff, right? So let's just grab this and let's head over to here. We're going to add edit fields. It's a manual mapping. So the first one was file name, right? And then for this, just click on expression. I'm going to open this window up, and then I'm going to paste this in here. Okay, and then remember, it's just once it's green and you see this random string here, you know it's worked. Okay. And then I'm going to add another one, and this one is going to be called folder name. And for this, I'm just going to call it video. Okay. And then what did I name this? Create file name. So I'm going to rename this to create file name. Okay, and make sure you run it whenever you've created a node, right? Just to make sure that everything is working. Okay. So yeah, that one's done. So we can move on, and I'm just going to move this across. Let's just move this across a little bit. Okay, good. So with that done, we can now move on to download video, which is an execute command node. Okay, and this has a code in here, and I'll discuss that. So let me just bring this up and copy this, and it's green and it's worked. So if we click on test step, you'll see that come through once it's executing the node. I'll come back to this because it's just running in the background, but we just need an execute command node. Okay, and we're not going to execute it once because we've got multiple videos. Okay, so we want to toggle this off, and then inside of here you want to paste this code in here. Okay, and what this means is that basically it's going to get the folder name videos, and it's going to get the file name, right? And it's basically going to allow us to basically utilize this function. Okay, which is, if you remember at the start of the video, I installed the yt-dlp function. Okay, and so we're going to be able to download it in this format. The format's going to be this here. So let me show you this because I pulled in the previous fields from the previous nodes. It's going to have the folder name, as you see it here, the file name, and it's going to be a .mp4 file. Okay, which means it's a video. Okay, and then it's going to get the video. Right, it's going to get the video from the get video node, and it's going to use the video path. Okay, that's how it's going to basically extract and download the video. So hopefully that should make sense to you. Just make sure the most important thing is just to make sure that it's green, which means that's worked. If for any reason it's red, it means that you've incorrectly selected a node that doesn't exist. They can't find it in here, which means that you've obviously, you might have renamed this to something else. So you might not call this get video or rate video, which is fine, right? You just need to make sure that you're selecting the correct node here. That's all that it means, okay? And make sure you test the step. And then the last one we need is update sheet, which is an update rows inside of Google Sheet. And so let's head back over to the original here. Make sure that's okay. This one we're gonna call download video, rename that. Remember to toggle this off because we're gonna only run it once, okay? And then let's find the last one here. So this one's Google Sheets, and then we're gonna do update rows in Sheets, okay? So find the correct sheet or document, which is this one here, generate motivational AI video agent. And the sheet is gonna be the video source, okay? So you can see that here it's all the same, and then we're gonna map columns manually, and then for this we're gonna use the row number, okay? So let's just bring this up, grab the row number, and then for the ID, you just pull it from a previous node, okay, which is the get video node. So if you go down the schema here, get video, you've got a dynamic variable called row number, okay? So you literally just grab that and pull that over here, okay? I'm just gonna make sure that I copy it and paste it here. And yeah, you know it's green and it's worked. It's got number 2 because it reflects the number of rows, right, which is 2. Okay, and then for the internal path, I'm just gonna copy this code. Okay, and I'll explain to you what that means. So let's head back over here. Let's go to expression. Let's open this up. I'm gonna paste this here. So all this means is that it goes to, it's just JSON. It basically creates an output. So if I show you in the original, this is what it looks like, right? So we've got the video folder name, right? And then it's got the file name, which has been automatically generated in the create file name node. And then it's just an empty MP4, which means that it's a video, okay? Now, if it's green, you know it's worked. If you can see it in here in the expression, then you know it's worked. If it's red, like I said, just make sure that you're selecting the correct node and you're pulling the correct field. Okay, so for this one, I'm using folder name, which is the first part, which is video, and then file name, which is the second part. And I've just added the MP4 on the end because that's what a video file is, okay? And then the last thing you want to do is add a status of success. So when this runs and you've downloaded a video, you then want to update this to say success, right? So basically we go to status and then we're going to update it to success, okay? Or whatever your status is here. I've used success, it could be uploaded, it could be done, whatever, right? It just got to reflect that. And that means that when you run this automation again, right? So the first one is done, and I'll run it at the end and I'll show you what it looks like on YouTube. Once this is done, right? It'll change that to success, and then it'll pick up the next row that's set to review. Okay, does that make sense? And so basically it will just go sequentially down the list in your database here. And what did I call this one? Update video source, okay. So just give it a meaningful name, so update video source. And that's it, that's the video download portion of the workflow done. Now that the get video part of the workflow is done, we can just duplicate the entire flow and change it for music, okay? So I'm gonna select all of these, right click, duplicate 6 nodes, move that down here, line it up to something like this. And then let's just move this down a bit. Okay, and then we're just gonna go inside of here and then you can change the name. So it's gonna be exactly the same, but now we're just doing it for music, okay? So what that means is we're done with the video source, but now we're gonna change everything to the music source inside of the Google Sheet, okay? So we're gonna rename this to get music. Remember to change this to music source, right? And then the status is gonna be the same. So now inside of music source, we're gonna grab everything that says review. Okay, so I'm just gonna make it this first one here, and that's the same as what you see here. So if I go inside of this one You can see that it's exactly the same. We've just changed the sheet to music source and everything else stays the same. Okay, so I'm gonna test a step here on the original one because I've got everything built out here, and you can see that it's worked. Everything's good, and we're good to go. Okay, so remember to save this. For rate video, I'm gonna change this to rate music. So again, it just stays exactly the same, right? Because we have 3 items. If we wanted to, we could actually create all 3 of these videos and music together, but I'm just going to do one because it's just quicker for me to do it on a live recording like this. Okay, and I'll show you that in the original as well because I want to run it at the same time. It's just called rate music, and if I test a step, you'll see that there's one item, because if you go back to the sheet, there's only one item that has review. Okay, so that one's all good. And then for this, I think I just left it as it was, right? So yeah, create file name for 1, because you can't have the same file name, right? You can't have the same name for each of the nodes. So this one it's doing the same thing, right? But instead, if we go inside of here, the only thing that's changed now is the folder name is called music, right? So if I go into this here, let me just move this across. I want to click inside of here. It's a manual mapping, exactly the same string, right? But now I'm going to change this to music. Okay, so if I go back into the original, let me just test a step, and you can see, right? So it's generated a random file name, which is 10 characters, and it's just alphanumeric, and then the folder name is music. Okay, so we know that that one's worked. The next one after that is download music. So I'm gonna grab this piece of code, right? Because it's just a little bit different, right? We're just gonna change some of these map nodes, okay? So that one's done. And then we're gonna click inside of here. We're gonna change this to download music. Let's just click inside of here. I'm gonna take this out and then paste this in here. So what this does is we're still using the same yt-dlp, which is the download function inside of Docker, right? But now we're gonna get it from the folder name that has file name, okay? And this is for get music. So this is now coming from this path here, okay? So let me just find it. It's gonna be from the previous node, right? So where are we? We're in download music, so it's gonna be from this one here, okay? And remember, we just need to change the file name and the folder name. So if I run this, you'll see what the output looks like. Just wait for that to finish. And you know it's worked because it's green. The code has worked and it's got the output at the bottom here, okay? So what it's done is it's basically downloaded the music that we pasted inside of here. So this link here, it's actually used the function yt-dlp, and it's actually downloaded the music for this, okay? For this video on YouTube. So you know that's worked once it's all green. If it's not green, remember, if it's red, that means you basically mapping a node that doesn't exist, or the name is different, right? So if you've named it as something completely different to what I am doing inside of here, then just remember to basically map it correctly, okay? And that one's done. So we'll just make sure this one's all okay. And then, yeah, the last one is just update video source, which is now going to be update a music source. So we can just remove the one. We can add music here to rename it. Okay, and remember to change the sheet to music source, right? And then we just need to collect some stuff from this one here because I've just changed the JSON here. So for the row number, we can just get it from get music. Okay, so this module here, it's just this dynamic field. You can just paste that in here, okay, from the get music node, which was the one before it, right? 2, 3, 4 nodes before it. So I'm gonna grab this, and instead of get video, it's now get music. You could actually just go inside of here and just change it to get music. If you wanted to do that, you could do that. That's fine because it does exist, right? You could do that, or you could just paste from previous code. I like to paste it because I know it already works, right? So I've already run it and I already know it works. So there's less chance of me making a mistake, right? And then for this bit here, I'm just gonna copy this and explain it to what that's doing inside of the build here. So internal path is exactly the same as the update music, update video source node, but now we're just changing the name to music folder and music file name, okay? So I'll paste that in here. If I bring that up, then you see that it's just from the create file name 1, which is the second one, right? It's from the second node, the duplicate node. And this time we're getting the folder name, which is music, and the file name is just whatever the script will generate, okay? So you know that's worked because you've got the music folder, right, dash, and then this is just a general, a unique auto-generated alphanumeric number. If you test a step, you'll see that it's worked, and it will then update the status to success, okay? So I probably should run this again, to be honest with you, just to make sure that it's worked. There you go, change to success, and you can see here it's changed to success, and that's when you know that it's actually downloaded the video, okay? So let me just change these to review. And you understand why we need these statuses, okay? Because on the next cycle, it's gonna ignore this row 2, and then it's gonna go to row 3, right? And then download this one, change it to success. On the next cycle, it'll then go to row 4, and so on, okay? So yeah, that one's done. There's nothing else more to it. And so we can line this up. You can add a sticky note. And what we're gonna build next is the second part of the flow, which is a bit bigger, but this is now gonna take everything together. It's gonna create the motivational video, and it's gonna upload it, okay? So it's gonna get the video, it's gonna aggregate the music, the video, it's gonna add the titles and the descriptions, the captions on the video, and it's gonna upload it onto YouTube, okay? So let's go ahead and build that next. We're now on the last part of the build, which is the generate motivational video and upload. You can see there's a few nodes here. Because we are getting the videos, we're getting the music, the titles and descriptions, and we're aggregating it all together to put it into a video, which will then be uploaded into YouTube, okay? So let's just go ahead and build this. So we can move this all down here. Then we're gonna start off with a schedule trigger node. And again, just set this up to whatever configuration that you want. So where's it put it? Okay, let's grab this and move it somewhere over here. Okay, and the next one you want is a Google Sheets get rows. So find Google Sheets, and we're gonna get rows, okay? So this one is get all videos. So we're gonna get all videos. Find a sheet. Make sure you've got the correct sheet name. So I'm gonna use video source. And then for this, let's go inside of here so I can show you what this one's doing. We're gonna look for a status column of success. So that then tells the automation, this is the next part, right? You are now ready to do the next part, okay? Which is, the first part is success. It basically has downloaded the video, right? The next part is then we can aggregate all the content, all the assets, and then upload it, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back over here. We're gonna add a filter. The column is gonna be status, and the value is going to be success, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Okay, so I'm gonna test the step. Let's just see if it works. And yeah, so we should be, if we go back over here to video source, let's just make sure these two are reviewed so we don't duplicate content. But now it should be the KDQ, which is, I believe it's the first one, right? Yeah, it's the first one. And so we have the content for that, right? So let's move on to the next part of the build, okay? So the next thing you need is an aggregator. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna aggregate the videos, okay? And for this, we're just gonna use the internal path, which is this field here, okay? So head over to the build. Let's just get the aggregate node, right? And then we're going to just use this. Okay, and I'm gonna run it in this one, and I'll test a step to show you exactly what this one does. So if I test a step, you'll see that it's basically aggregated all 3 videos, okay? Which is the 3 videos that we have in here from the internal path column. So this one is called aggregate videos. I'm gonna just rename that, save that, and remember to save it as you're going along, okay? Then once we're done, we want to then do the same again, but this time we're gonna do it get all music, okay? So it's another get rows, but now we're gonna change the sheet source to music source, okay? So if you go back to the sheet, it's now this tab here, okay? So let's head over to the build. Let's find Google Sheets. Let's do get rows. Select the correct sheet. And the tab. Okay. And it's going to be exactly the same. We're going to use the status as a success, okay? Trigger. So status, and then success, and then we'll just rename this to get all videos. Rename that. Oh no, this one's get all music, right? Get all music. And then remember to test the step and save it. So I'm just going to run it here just to show you the output. Wait for the node to execute, and then there, you've got it, okay? So that one's done, and then let's move on to the next one. So now we need to do the same again, but we're just going to aggregate the music, okay? So you could actually just duplicate this node. Duplicate. Let's connect it up. Go inside of here. Let's rename this to aggregate. And then you just want to go inside of here. And now we're going to get the internal path from the previous node. Okay, so you just want to grab this, right? Because remember, this is now aggregate music. The last one was aggregate videos. So just make sure you drag the correct internal path, which is this one here. And that's all you need to make sure you need to do. You just got to make sure you map the correct field. Is basically my point here. And so, yeah, this one I'm just going to skip because we've already done it. So let me run the test step. And yeah, you've got it. The output's working. So every stage, just make sure you test the output, okay? Test the step. Now we've got another get rows Google Sheet because we want to get the titles and the descriptions, okay? So the title and descriptions are going to come from this caption tab, and it's the video title and video transcript, okay? So basically, this is all the content that's been generated by AI, okay? And for this, I'm just going to leave the status blank. Okay, or you could just leave the status as, you could put something in here. I just left it as blank, which means that it's going to move on to the next one here, okay? Because the last one's done. But you can keep this status field and you can build it like how I've done here. I'm just showing you the different options that's available to you, okay? So let's get over to the build. Let's add a Google Sheets get rows node. Again, select the correct document, the correct sheet. So now it's the captions and post status, okay? And then the filter is going to be status, but we're just going to leave it empty. Leave it as an empty field. Let's just run that. Oh, before I do that, let me just change the title. So get titles and descriptions, okay? And then I'm just going to test the steps so you can see the output, okay? And that's why I'm only using 3 rows, because I want to make sure that I've only done three basic tests, because although there's 99 outputs, because I've got a lot of these here, right? For the final output, it's only going to be one video, right? And that's because I'm recording a live. I'm doing a live demonstration here for you, okay? So yeah, we're done there, and then now we need another rate. A limit, so we need another limit node. So if I click inside of here, it's just going to be 1. Again, this is as a reminder, this is because we're using the public API to do this. I don't want to get banned. I don't want you to get banned, so I'm just playing it safe, adding a buffer of max 1 items. Okay, and remember, this is just one iteration, right? You can run this automation as many times per day as you want. So let's go over here, and how did I build this? Let me just see. Okay, so I went to rate and then I moved down, okay. So I'm just gonna move this across. And then we're gonna add a limit node, and then we can just leave it at that, right? And then we're just gonna call this rate limit, rename that, and that's fine. So if I just show you that, there you go, one item, rise and grind, hardware beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? So that should be this one here, right? The third row, because the first one always had success. I already posted it, right? I already tested it before I recorded this video. And then the next node is gonna be another edit fields. Okay, so we're gonna map some fields. The first one is gonna be music underscore path, and the second one is gonna be video underscore path. Okay, so let me just create the node first, and I'm gonna copy all that across. So this one is edit fields. And so the first one was music underscore path, and you can give these fields any name that you want, okay? And for the value, I'm going to change this to expression, and I'm going to copy whatever's in here and explain this to you. And obviously I'll run the test step so you can see it. So basically, this is pulling it from the aggregate music node, which is this one here, and it's getting the internal path. Okay, and if I show you inside of this one, it's basically concatenating it all, right? It's getting the aggregate music, the internal path, and it's doing it for both, okay? And this is what it should look like once it's done. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same again for the video, but the video one is coming from the aggregate videos node here, okay? So just make sure that you're mapping the correct field with the correct nodes. Okay, so this one is video path. Value, let's change that to expression and paste that there. And then what did I call this? Get video and music. Okay, so we're just bringing the assets together before we upload it, right? We render it and upload it. So what did I call it? Get video and music. Get video and music. Again, test it, save it, and I'm just going to test it for you just to show you what the output looks like. So there you go. Okay, and that's it, that was done. So now I'm gonna move this string down, this kind of path down to here, so it kind of fits into one screen. So let's just move this up a bit over here, and then I'm gonna move this down to somewhere like this. And the next node that you want is another edit field node, because we're gonna generate the file name. Okay, so this is gonna use a string again, like a JSON string, and it's just generating a random alphanumeric 10-digit string. Okay, so let's just bring up the edit fields. We're going to do that one here. What do we call this? We called it a file name. So I'm going to change this one to generate file name, and this one is going to be called file name. And then if I change this to expression, okay, that's not it. I copied it from this, so let me just copy that and paste that here, and that's it. So there's nothing else here. It's green, so it's worked, and you can see the output has worked as well, right? So if I test the step, you'll see that it's generated a random file name, which is what we need. So come out of this again, save it, test it, and then the next thing we're going to need is the text overlay. Okay, so we have captions, right? And we have these video titles. So we can actually put this onto the video itself, right? And I'll show you how to do that. And for this, we're going to need a code node. So let's bring that up. It's going to be a code, and we're going to use JavaScript. We're always going to use JavaScript. I don't really use Python for this. And if I go inside of here, it's going to run once for all items. And I just see some code here, okay? So basically, what this does is, if I just copy this, I'll explain it once I run it. If I go inside of here, it's easier to see. All it's doing is it's getting the titles and descriptions from the title descriptions node, right? And if I show you the output, it'll make more sense. So if I test the step, you can see that it's basically bringing it all together. It's gonna generate a caption, and it's doing some other bits and pieces as well. So if I go up here, you can do the font, you can configure the font size. You can configure where it is on the video, right? You can configure the font color, right? If you change the color, this is where you do it. You could change the fonts. So the fonts you need to download and you need to paste it into the Docker. So if I show you where that goes, if you go to the container, if you go to files, right, just wait for this to open. It's just refreshing the files. You need to go to home, node, and then just paste it inside of node. Okay, so if I go down here, you'll see that I've got the Noto Sheriff fonts. I've basically installed, dragged and dropped both of these files here. I don't know which one you use because I'm not really a fonts expert, but I just copied and pasted both of these. You can find these, relatively available for free on the internet. Just do a search, or you can put in whatever font you want, right? If there's a particular font that you're passionate about, just stick that into this section here, which is home and node. Okay. And there's some other bits and pieces you can do in here as well. So you can do the padding, you can do the word count, word length, a lot of different things in here. Play around with this, certainly change the width, the font size, have a look at that. You can change all that. And yeah, play around with it. Okay, so this is, what do we call this one? Generate text overlay, okay? And you see this once I run the video and you see the final output, what this text overlay looks like. Text overlay, rename, and then you can see that I've already, did I run this? No, I didn't run it here. I ran it here, right? So you can see what the output's gonna look like, okay? The next one is gonna be an execution command. So now we're gonna need to generate the video. So I'm gonna grab this code here. In fact, let me just open this up and grab this code. So let's just get an execute command node. We're going to want to execute it more than once, so we turn this off. Go into expression. Let's open the bigger window so you can see it. And basically, this is grabbing the fields from get music, right? And from get video and music as well. Okay. So if I run it, you'll see what that is, and just make sure that it's green, right? It's hard for me to explain this without kind of building this out, right? And so if I show you from the test output, what's happened here? Let me just come out of here. One of these has failed. Generate video, which is fine. I'll pause this and I'll debug this and I'll come back. Okay, so I fixed it. I'm not really sure what the problem was because I ran the automation before recording this video and they haven't changed anything. So maybe there was some kind of change in the backend somewhere, but it's fine. I had to edit some of the code. The most important thing is that for you is that we need to get the correct items here. So we obviously want to get the music, right? Which is from this node here to get video and music. So the music path and the video path. And you want to generate a file name, right? So that's from this here, right? The one before it, the one after the get video and music. The other things that I want you to pay attention to is the aspect ratio as well, right? You can change all that here. So I'm creating a video for YouTube Shorts. If there's any other format that you want, this is where you would change it here, right? In the aspect ratio. And I've actually run that and it's all good. We're ready to go. So let me just grab this code here and I'll save the updated JSON into the build. Okay, and remember to execute the test and save it. Okay, so what did I call this one? I call this one generate video. Okay, so I'm gonna call this one generate video, rename that, and yeah, we're good to go. So let's just come out of this. And the next node, so we're almost there, right? So we just need, there's like 4 or 5 more nodes here. So we want to create the URL, okay? So what that means is if I go inside of here, we're now gonna call the Google API for videos for YouTube. It's a post method and you're gonna connect to your YouTube OAuth API. You're gonna send headers and these are the headers you're gonna send, okay? And there's a bit of code here. So let me just grab this first and I'll talk you through that, okay? So this is a HTTP request node. Remember, it's post, and we're gonna paste the URL in, which is this one here. And then you want to send headers. So let's just grab these from here. So the first one is content type. Okay, and that's an application JSON dash JSON. So bear in mind that you spell it correctly, otherwise you're going to have problems when you run the node. Okay, it's going to come back with errors. The next one is x-upload-content-type. Okay, so all you need to know that this is the correct formatting for us to send the data back to the YouTube API here. And then the value is video-webm. And that's just the syntax that we need for this based on the API, okay? And then we don't need the last one. So what I'm gonna do is add a body, and this time it's gonna be raw. And then we just want the content type, which is raw JSON. Keep in mind the capitalization, that matters. It is case sensitive. So this one is raw, and then what did we say it was? Raw, and then content type is raw JSON. And then for the body, we want to copy this code here. Okay, so I'm gonna just bring this up, and now we're gonna get the rate limit, okay, the video title, and the rate limit, the video transcription. Okay, so that's coming from this one here, right? So we've got the title, which is Rise and Grind, and then the video transcription, which is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Okay, so let's just copy this. Let's just open up Expression, save that, and if I go back to the original one, if it's green, you know it's worked. Let's just test the step anyway. Let's see what it comes back with. And here you go, here's the output. I remember to rename the node here to whatever I'm gonna call it, but I'm just gonna call it create URL. Okay, so if we go back to here, you'll see some outputs here, okay? And this is basically the format we need before we can send it. We can send the video back to YouTube, to our YouTube channel. That's all you need to know with this one, okay? And then for the next node, we need this read write files from disk. Now this node is only available if you are hosting N8N locally, right? If you're on the cloud, you're not gonna see this one, okay? And so for this one, we wanna generate the file name, right? So we want that, the file name from the generate file name node, which is this one here, right? And then we're gonna put the MP3 on there, okay? So it's gonna generate basically this here. And all that means that this is the file name, right? It's actually writing it to the from disk, okay? So let's just come out this one. Let's add that, read, write, and if I go back, it actually explains what this does, right? So it reads or writes files from the computer that runs N8N, okay? If you're doing this on the cloud, you'd use something like Google Drive, right? But because we're doing this locally, we need to run it back and forth locally, right? So let's just grab this one, and this one is read, right? So read files from disk, right? Because you can actually write as well. So read files from disk, and then let's just paste this in here. Okay, and you don't need to rename this one, you can just leave it as it is, because I did. And if I go back into the original one, you can see that it's worked because it has generated an output and it's green, but let's just test the step. And it comes back, and this is it. This is the video. So yeah, you see how it's taken the caption for the video is the video transcript. Now you can format this if you go into which one is it? The generate text overlay, right? If you go back into this node, you can actually make this, you can change the text, you can make it bigger, you can center it. There's lots of different things you can do in here, right? I'm just showing you what's possible with an automation like this, okay? So that one's good, that one's worked. Did we save that in here? Yes, we did. Okay, awesome. So let's just move on to the next step. We've only got 3 more nodes here. Now we're gonna upload the video. Okay, so we need another HTTP request. Okay, but now it's a put method. Okay, so let's just go back into here. Let's bring up HTTP request. It's a put, right? And then for the URL, we're gonna take the create URL node. Okay, and we're gonna use location, this one here. So what this has done is it's taken the Google API address, and then it's basically added everything else to the end of that. That basically is at a string for our URL, okay? And you know it's worked, so let's just test the step, because it's gonna upload the video now, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like inside of my YouTube account. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna paste this here into this, and then let's just rename this to upload video. Okay. And then let me just show you inside of the channel here. So this is the channel. Let me refresh this. Here it is. So this is the video. You can see I've unlisted it. You can actually change that to listed if you go into the code node. So if you come out of this, it's the, I think it's this one here, right? Generate video. Where did I put that? It's in one of these. You can actually change that, right? You can change it to public or unlisted. Now, I do recommend that you leave it at unlisted, because a human in the loop step is always a good idea, right? If you're not happy with the video, you can actually just go back in here and then list it publicly. Okay, and if you want to see the video, this is what it looks like. So I'll come out this, which I think it's done a pretty good job. Right, and it's taken a title, it's taken the description, and it's already done all that for you, okay? So where are we? We've done upload video, and the last one is we want to update the captions. So for this one, it's going to be an update row, which is a Google Sheet module or node. Okay, and this time what we're going to do is we're going to get the row number, and we're going to use the rate limit, which is, where's that gone? This one here. We're going to use the row number from here, okay? And for the output path, it's going to be generate file name. So that's this one here, and the status is going to be success, right? And then for the YouTube URL, we're just going to use this templated first part, because that's what every YouTube video has if you look at it, right? If I was to load this into, let's click on here to show you, right? If I was to show you this, the first part is always the same, right? The second part is, this is what we generate, okay? So I'm gonna paste this here and just add the JSON ID, okay? Which is, where is that coming from? The JSON ID is coming from this one here. It's the upload video, it's this ID here, okay? So that's just adding a link onto the sheet. So if I go back to the sheet, right? If once I run this one, it's gonna add all this on here, and it's this URL here, right? So it's gonna update the output path, it's gonna add success, it's gonna update the new URL, and it's gonna post the time, okay? Which is what I'm doing right now. So let's run that first so I can show you the output. And so it's done. So if I go back in there, now you can see it's added a second one, right? And it's done at the same date. So let's just go back into this one here. We're gonna do an update row node. So update rows in a sheet. Just connect to the same sheet again. And now we're gonna select the captions and post status, right? Because that's the third tab here, the third sheet, okay? And then the column is gonna be row number. And I'm just gonna copy this over to kind of save time. But you know where to get it from, right? It's from the rate limit node. So I'm gonna copy that here, change that to expression. And then the video title, all that we can leave that blank because that's already generated. The output path is this. So I'm gonna change that to expression, change that. The status is obviously gonna be success. Let me spell it properly. The YouTube URL is going to be the first part, which is templated, and then the JSON ID from upload video, right? So paste that in there, change that to expression so you can see it. And then the post time, I've just created a quick script here, like a JSON script, and all that does is it takes today's date and it puts it into this format. Okay, so if I change that to expression, you'll see that here, okay? And this will run all the time because this is not dependent on any other previous node or field, but you once you see this output, you know that that's what I wanted to see it as. The system output is kind of like, there's loads of numbers, there's like TZ, all that. It just doesn't look very clean, right? So I've just basically cleaned it up. And then, what do we call this? Update captions and post status. Okay, so let's rename that. So update captions and post status. Rename that. And then there's just one more that you can add, right? This is optional. You don't need to do this. This is to remove the file. So we've downloaded the file locally to our machine. You can actually delete the file, right? So if I click in there, and basically generate the file name, and this is the command that we want: remove file rm dot / and then you just put in file name that you've uploaded, and it'll delete it locally from your machine. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. It's going to delete it from your container. So I'm going to delete that, and that one is execute command. Okay, so we're going to remove once because we might have multiple videos. And remember just to set it to expression. So it's rm space dot / and then you want to generate file name, which is from the previous node. Okay, which is this one here. Let's just find it before I wrap up the video. So it's this one here. Okay, and remember to test the step. And so once it's worked, that means it's removed the file. Okay, so that's basically it. Yeah, this has been probably the biggest automation I've built. It's certainly the most complicated, but I've always wanted to do it because a few of you have asked me, because N8N is open source, you can run it locally, which you can't do on make.com or Zapier, by the way. So I thought I'd put this automation together, build it out, show you how you can build a motivational channel, right? Because these channels are doing extremely well. If I go into TikTok, I can show you quickly before I end it. So let's just go over here to TikTok. We go to, just get rid of this here, and then we'll go to search, and then we'll do motivational quotes. Okay, and I'll show you some of these videos. I mean, this one has 500,000. You can do this. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing something like this because the video at the back, the Denzel Washington one, is actually copyright, right? So I'd use just kind of something like this, right? I don't know if this has sound. Maybe it does. Let me just go back into here. But look at this. It's crazy, right? Let me just go inside of this account because it looks like he does a lot of this. So it's got 96,000 followers, almost 2 million likes. If I sort by popular, this one has 10.9 million views, right? Which is crazy. More than 10 times the next best video, okay? And you can monetize this really easily. I mean, I'm not even sure why he's not monetizing it, but you can sell affiliate products, you can sell your courses, you can sell anything. You can sell merchandise. Literally, the sky's the limit with this kind of stuff, okay? So go ahead, build this automation. Do me a favor, like the video, share the video. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel, because with your support, I can build more of these videos that take a lot of time, right? This one took me like 2 days to plan and video and edit. So your support means the world to me, and I'll definitely see you on the next one, okay? So take care of yourself and have a great day.